今の俺があるのは全部ミュウのおかげなんだ。
破壊光線だと。
下がって。だから俺お前に会ったら絶対に伝えたかった。ありがとうって。
Hey everyone, it's Mark. This is my recap for Pokémon Journeys episode 134, Taking the Future in Hand. This was the 1219th episode of the Pokémon anime and the finale of the Project Mew storyline. Let's talk about it. Alright, so we pick up where we left off with Groudon and Kyogre just kind of appearing in front of our two groups of chasers, and well, they start attacking them. Since they don't have access to their Pokeballs, it's up to Quillen's Weavile to fight off Groudon, but the legendary Pokemon is too strong, leaving them cornered as it prepares to use Precipice Blades. Meanwhile, Kyogre is also getting the better of the other group, but just before it launches an Origin Pulse at Danica and Azumarill, Go and Horus distracted by setting off these flares, which just gets them absolutely blasted by the Origin Pulse. And if that wasn't bad enough, Kyogre jumps out from the water almost as if it was going to eat them, but just as it's about to launch a close range Origin Pulse, who else but Grookey jumps into action. And out of nowhere, it uses Wood Hammer, which is hilarious if you ask me. This would be like trying to fight Groudon by throwing a cup of water at it. Oh yeah, that's actually what Gary does, and believe it or not, this was enough to send Groudon away. Both legendary Pokemon actually decide to flee for some reason. It was actually pretty funny watching a Groudon try and run. That was not something I expected to see. By following the two legendaries, both groups of chasers are led to this clearing, which is lit by some strange glowing pink rocks. The two legendary Pokemon dive headfirst into each other, no one knows what is going on, and suddenly the Pokemon transform into a flash of light, and oh, it looks like they were just Mew. That's actually impressive stuff. I didn't know Mew could transform into multiple Pokemon at once. Anyways, Mew teleports away and everyone is kind of speechless at what just happened, as well as the scene that they are currently looking at. Mew reappears on top of one of the glowing jewels, and even though no one really knows what's happening, it's pretty clear that somehow Mew is sharing a ton of energy with this place, as we see a bunch of the wild Pokemon gathering around the glowing rocks. Once the chasers slowly assemble around Mew, the rock or jewel or whatever that it's been floating over lets off a huge burst of light, and we follow Go's perspective, as he's transported from Faraway Island into what looks like some kind of void, but it actually turns out to be some kind of vision or dream of how the world was created. I don't know the exact science off the top of my head, but basically Big Bang, something something, Mew, Genesis, Supernova, the world is created, Rayquaza flies past Go in space, which sends Go down into the world, where he sees Mew again, Go follows it to Faraway Island, and then snaps back into reality. Everyone is rattled because apparently they all saw the same vision, and Danica reaches out and touches the rock as she theorizes about what power it holds, but her touch somehow deactivates it, I guess. Her reaction was kind of funny because Danica is always so composed, so seeing her embarrassed was actually pretty funny to me. Mew reappears and inspects the now faded rocks, and the wild Pokemon are unhappy about this development, so they start fighting each other. Again, no one is really sure what is going on here, but clearly something has gone wrong. With that said, something actually goes right for once as Professor Amaranth comes back over the radio, and yeah, somehow all of their devices are working again, and this includes their Pokeballs, so that's good news. At this point, Mew is just kind of observing everything that's going on, and the wild Pokemon's fighting has turned into an all-out battle, which causes Mew to fire off some electric attack, and Quillen steps right into action by calling out his Urshifu. Danica follows suit, but the two Urshifu get struck down by Mew's attacks, which just causes it to laugh for some reason. Mew follows up with an Air Slash, which overwhelms the Urshifu, knocking them both out. Danica and Quillen are ready to continue the fight, and Gary joins them by setting up Blastoise. Go is hesitant to fight back, but Gary says that this has to be done. Go begrudgingly joins in, even though he doesn't think Mew is going on a rampage or anything, and Horus sends out Gardevoir to round out the team. All of their attacks are no match for Mew's massive Shadow Ball, and even Gardevoir's Light Screen is completely eviscerated by this attack, which causes a huge explosion. At this point, all the nearby wild Pokemon are knocked out just from being close to the action. And Mew, well, Mew is just laughing the whole time, clearly amused by the whole situation. It uses a massive Fire-type attack, which just blasts through anything in its path. By this point, Go has stopped trying to fight back. At multiple points, he's tried to talk Mew into calming down, but to no avail. The rest of the chasers send out the next round of reinforcements in what is turning into a pretty hopeless raid battle. Even these powerhouses can't stand up to a single one of Mew's attacks. No one really knows what to do do, but Go keeps on trying to think. As he watches all of his friends struggle and struggle, he thinks of Ash, and he's reminded of how Ash would never give up, and neither will he, so he steps out in between all the Pokemon and he calls out to Mew. Go says that because of the time he met Mew as a child, he's done so much to meet it again, tried so many new things, met so many new people, he's really pouring his heart out here, and Mew is just like, alright, whatever kid, here comes a Hyper Beam. Go doesn't back down, he'll protect his friends no matter what, and just as he's about to, I don't know, die from this Hyper Beam, he tells Mew, thank you, and this is what finally reaches Mew, and it calls off the Hyper Beam at the last second. Mew then starts letting off a ton of energy, which not only heals all of the defeated Pokemon, but restores the energy to the rocks, which is nice, I guess. Now that Mew is calmed down, it uses its power to teleport the chasers and their Pokemon away, and it looks like it took them all back to the base of Table Mountain, and they realize that their mission is probably over. Go says thank you to Mew again, and promises to come see it again, and just as he's about to say his cheesy, "the future lies in my hands" catchphrase, wait, hold on, what just appeared in his hand? Whoa, it's actually Mew. Once again, clearly just playing around, it laughs along with its new friend before disappearing for good, while Go and Grookey finish off their catchphrase together. Clouds quickly form overhead, and it immediately starts raining, so yeah, they weren't kidding when they said the dry season is really short on Faraway Island. We cut to everyone regrouping back at the lab airship. No one really knows what happened for certain, but they all agree that it was a valuable experience. Professor Amaranth says that he'll continue to study this mysterious Pokemon, and we cut back to Slateport City, where he informs the group that the Chasers will be temporarily disbanded. However, Go, Gary, and Horace are welcome to stay with the team. None of them commit to it, all saying they'll think about it, which causes Danica to jokingly say that she'll take it easy on them in their training if they do decide to remain as chasers. Professor Amaranth thanks them for their contribution, saying that it was thanks to their pure-hearted wishes that they even met Mew at all. And then he turns to Quillen, asking if he has anything to say, and everyone is all tense for a moment before Quillen admits that they didn't make a bad team. Probably the nicest thing anyone has ever heard him say. Back at the port, it's time for these three to split up, and Go says that he's glad to have met Gary, and the two share a fist bump very similar to what Go and Ash did when they split up the other day. Go encourages Horace to keep chasing after his dreams, and then the three of them all say Go's "the future lies in our hands" catchphrase in what may have been the cheesiest moment of this entire series, but I loved it. And with that, the episode comes to a close with Go departing back to Kanto, and we see the other side of that phone call from 2 episodes ago with Go asking Ash how his battle against Leon went. And with that, Project Mew is over. Well, for now, I guess. They did mention at the end that Professor Amaranth will begin recruiting again for whatever his next project is. I've speculated before that with Project Mew seemingly being an ongoing thing, maybe that's a way to write Go off the show, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I'll speculate more on that when we talk about the preview for the next episode, but for now, let's discuss what happened in this episode. Overall, I thought as a conclusion to the Project Mew storyline, this episode was fine. I don't know. I'd be lying if I said I didn't come away from watching this episode feeling a little bit like that was it. I have mixed feelings about this. I do think my perspective is biased because of what we just saw. Ash had his big, exciting climax to his storyline. It was everything I wanted and more, whereas Project Mew was really fun, but not as definitive of an ending, I guess. Like, Ash accomplished his goal. He did what he set out to do, battle Leon and win the World Coronation Series. Go set out to catch Mew, and he fell short of that goal. But let's take Ash out of the equation for a second. What always happens with Ash's companions? They always make strides towards achieving their dreams, but they always come up just short, so their journeys continue. I think that's the same thing for Go. His quest to catch Mew continues on, and quite frankly, I'm glad that Go did not catch Mew. I would not have even liked it had Go caught it, but agreed to release it immediately, or something like that. Instead, we saw Go befriend Mew, which is something. It's strange because now they basically know where Mew lives, and they know that they can get there as well. Go promised to come see Mew again, but what about the rest of Project Mew? Are they going to keep coming back to Faraway Island? I don't know about that, but what I do know is that all the rumors and speculation of Project Mew being evil turned out to be false. I mean, how could anyone that owns such a cute Mime Jr. possibly be a villain anyways? I thought the raid battle showdown against Mew was a little underwhelming. We've seen just how strong of trainers Danica and Quillen are, yet their legendary aces just got demolished in no time flat. Another thing I didn't love was how throughout these past 2 episodes, it was almost like Danica and Quillen were babysitting the other chasers, leaving all of the action and responsibility to themselves. On the one hand, I do get it, they were the only 2 with battle-ready Pokemon available, but I don't know, it just kind of felt weird that Go, Gary, and Horace worked so hard to qualify to be chasers, only to be treated like little kids and not on the same level as their fellow chasers. With that said, I did like these characters though. I was a big fan of the anime creating new anime original characters for Project Mew, and I thought all of them had interesting personalities and qualities, although I do wish we got to see them fleshed out a little more. The depth of their characters was never truly explored. It was almost like we were just scratching the surface with these guys. I suppose I should give this episode a rating, and like I said, I thought this was a fine conclusion to the Project Mew storyline, but it didn't blow me away. For that, I'm giving this episode an 8 out of 10 rating. Unlike most of Journeys, I thought that this wasn't a fantastic episode individually, but it did flow narratively and help contribute to the overall story. One of my criticisms of Journeys as a series is that even though individual episodes can be amazing, it wasn't actually building a very strong story overall. This episode, on the other hand, had plenty of moments and plot points that tied the series together. I know quite a few people have pointed out the scene of Go standing in front of his friends is very reminiscent of Ash protecting Go at the Ivysaur in episode 3 of Journeys. That was a great parallel and shows just how far Go has come since meeting Ash. I wish the rest of this series could have felt as fulfilling as that moment did. More on that later when I actually review this entire series, which I feel like may be coming up pretty soon, since I don't even know how many more episodes of Journeys that are left, but I do know that next week's episode is going to see Ash, Go, and Chloe reunite for the first time in a while. It looks like this episode is going to write Go out of the show, with the plot being that he's decided to go on his own journey, but hasn't quite mustered up the courage to tell Ash about his decision. I'm liking how as Go is about to begin his own journey, it looks like he might also anger a wild Spearow. Sounds familiar. We did also get another one of the Team Rocket shorts. This time their Paldean adventures led them to a Fuecoco. Again, nothing too notable to say about this segment, it was just a fun little scene that introduced Fuecoco to the anime, and we got to see Team Rocket blasting off again, which will never get old. Just as I'm about to finish recording the voiceover for this video, I'm realizing that I didn't even write anything into my script about the interview that came out, basically confirming that Ash is going to continue on in the anime. I don't really have anything to say about this because to me, this isn't news. It was obvious that Ash was going to continue in the anime. He's the main character, so I don't know why people speculated that he was going to leave. I know this had caught a lot of people's attention and it is newsworthy for them, so I thought I'd bring it up here, but like I said, it's not really news to me because to me it was always obvious that Ash was going to continue on as the main character. Anyways, once again, I've been super busy this week and all of my free time has gone to playing Pokemon Scarlet, so really I just need to beat that game already so I can get back to making YouTube videos. With that said, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.